AITA for saying to my brother that his kid's future isn't my problem. I, F23, lost my dad 3 years ago. It's been hard, and in that time I needed someone, and none of my siblings were there for me. I have a different dad from them, and that kind of drove a wedge between them and me. He was in my life more than their dad was, and I guess for that they hated me. My dad was really well off, and in his will, he basically left everything to me. With the help of my uncle, I was able to learn what things needed to be done so I can claim what he left and learn how to properly manage a house and car. Anyways, it's a big house. It's 4-bedroom, 2-bath. My best friend currently lives with me. I use the other 2 as a study room and art room. My brother, M31, has been talking to me lately about the house. He currently lives in a 2-bedroom apartment with his wife and 2 kids, 6 and 8. He's been looking for an upgrade and basically figured I'd be willing to sell the house to him. I told him I didn't want to sell the house, but I'd help him look for one. He said no and that he wanted mine. His wife likes how spacious it is, and the backyard is large enough for the kids to play in, for them to get a dog. My brother went on about how I didn't need a house because I'm young and don't have a family, so it'll benefit him more than me.
It was hard for me to say no, but I did and felt bad enough about it.
He and his wife have been calling and texting nonstop asking if I'd changed my mind. The final straw was when my brother called and said I was putting my niece and nephew's future at stake by forcing them to be stuck in a small apartment when they need more space to learn and grow. I feel like I'm the asshole because my reply to that was their future is not my concern, nor is it my problem, and I left it at that. My other brother says I'm being selfish to only think about myself and not care for my brother and his family. He agrees with him and believe I don't need a large house because it's just me, and they believe I don't know how to own a house like an adult. AITA. Damn.
I went to sleep and woke up with so many replies.
My DMs are filled with people calling me a liar and a bad sister for putting my friend above my family. For one, I'm not lying. I'd never in 100 years lie about something like this. I was hesitant in posting because of this exact reason. I really can't prove I am not lying without exposing personal details, so if you can't take my word for it, I'm sorry. And 2, my friend is the closest thing I had to having a sister. She was there for me through thick and thin. I read the comments and thank you for the tips and suggestions. I'm going to get in contact with my uncle today and talk to him about it, and if needed, I'll find a lawyer. Also, I do realize I could have worded it better and been, so I think I owe him an apology for that much. One more thing about the questions on why he wanted my house specifically. A lot of things come into play. All around, it's in the perfect place as it's close to many places like grocery stores, schools, and close to his job. He did offer me a price once before, but it was less than half of what the house was worth, and I already knew if I accepted it, I'd be a joke. And to add, thanks for the rewards, y'all are too nice. NTA. Their argument is basically, give me your house. I want it. If they were willing to pay market rates, they could find a house anywhere, but they don't.
NTA.
And they can fuck right off with their ridiculous entitlement. The house is your inheritance. It's your home, and they have no right to make demands or to try and guilt or manipulate you into selling. The only people not acting like adults in this situation is them. NTA. First, it's your house to do whatever you want with. Second, if he can afford a house of that size, he can afford another house of that size. What he really means is, sell me the house super cheap, or even, give me the house. And then, even money says he'd flip it in a couple of years anyway. Sorry you're having to go through this. NTA. They are only coming around because they want to siphon off your inheritance. I encourage you to reach out to your uncle and tell him that you are being pressured and it is hard. to say no at times. It sounds like he could give you advice on how to navigate, because it sounds like you are going to have to deal with an issue like this again down the road. NTA. I find it very hypocritical that they now want you to be there for them when they weren't there when you needed them. It's your house that was left to you. They have no right or connection to it. Stand your ground. You are well in your right to tell them no, and it doesn't make you selfish despite what they say. They will want to make you feel guilty to wear you down until you say yes. NTA. Your brother and his wife are acting extremely entitled, trying to ask you for your house. If they really wanted one, they should be looking for one, not trying to manipulate you into giving up something you've worked hard to purchase and maintain. Their mode of living is not your responsibility. And again, the well-being of their children is also not your responsibility. As parents, those are issues that are left up to them, and quite frankly, no one has ever died from having to live in a two-bedroom apartment. If they can afford to buy their own house, then IDK what the issue is here. Unless their plan is to manipulate you into selling your house to them at some sort of outrageously low price, which in that case they are most definitely just trying to take advantage of you and use their kids as an excuse. NTA. Where were they when you needed them? Why is your father essentially obligated to offer them a house that is now yours? Find out the market value. Offer $100K higher. They won't take it, but it will be funny. Also, make sure if your friend is living with you, put away some of their rent for your property taxes. Not sure where you live, but a 4BR house could be thousands a year, and it really adds up sometimes. Just bought my first house and being careful. Oh, and I'm sorry about your father. Truly, but I am happy for you starting this new chapter of your life. NTA. It's your house. Your house is not for sale. NJFC. Living in an apartment isn't the worst thing. Sounds like they just want a free house and have decided you are an easy target. Your brother's family is his concern. It is appalling that so many people in your family think you are being selfish for not giving up your home. There's some ageist bullshit going on here. If your brother wants a house, he and his wife can go looking at homes on the market and make an offer like every other adult, instead of trying to manipulate his little sister into giving up her home. NTA. Not their dad, not their house to claim, not your kids, not your concern. They're just jealous. Block them all. He said no and that he wanted mine. Your house is nice. I'll have it. How fucking entitled is that? NTA. NTA. Your brothers are assholes. Why is he pushing you to sell it to him instead of going out and looking for another house? Is it because he is expecting a nice family discount? Your response was right. His kids are not your problem. NTA. It's your house, and the entitlement of them expecting you to sell your house to them is just rich. NTA. And what is it with these people who feel entitled to someone else's house? And WTF at you not being adult enough. You are an adult now. You were an adult 3 years ago. And even if you weren't, it's completely irrelevant. Maybe ask your brother if he would rather have a house or his father and see if that gets the point through. NTA. Of course. Your brother sounds entitled to what your father left you, and is trying to manipulate and guilt trip you into basically giving it to him is beyond the move. His wife actually has already envisioned their family in your house. Don't feel guilty at all. The money they are willing to spend to buy your house could be easily spent on other house. But I think they were planning to pay you way below market price. And with their budget, they can't afford the market price. He's a 31-year-old grown man trying to guilt trip a 23-year-old into providing for his children. He needs to man up. You're going to have to distance yourself from them for sure. Do not give in to these demands, because after the house it'll be something else. Also, you best believe he won't want to pay the market price for the house. He'll want a family discount. You're only family when it matters. NTA. Your brother wants a free house. That is all he wants. If you offered to sell it for fair market value, I'm sure he'd flip out and start using it, but I'm your Bruce here. Single quote. Also, you are 23. You are starting a life for yourself. Who knows where you'll be in 5 years? Right now, the house may be too big for you, but who knows what the future will bring you? You could have your own kids. You could move in with several friends and live life that way. It's your house. NTA. You possibly could have worded it more tactfully, but it's still legit. He chose to have children. He chose his career path, and he chose to not be there for you when you needed him. He is responsible for his kids, not you. He is only interested in getting the house. Loving brothers don't hound siblings with guilt trips about their inheritance from an unrelated to brother person. Stick to your guns. He doesn't deserve squat. At my work we have a saying, where there's a will there's a greedy relative. NTA. Let him try that with any other homeowner. He's being rude, arrogant, selfish and entitled. I'd cut them out entirely if I were you. NTA. But I want it isn't reasonable as a toddler, it certainly isn't okay as an adult. Don't forget this is your legacy from your father. The father who's a loss they refused to support you with. You have a higher value house than they can probably afford, so want to bully and manipulate you into selling it to them cheap. If they could afford a 4-bed in your neighborhood on the open market, he would already have purchased one. No one waits till their kids are 6 and 8 before moving out of a 2-bed if they can afford it. Like someone wrote earlier, they will try and get it cheap from you and flip it. Tell them no. It's a link to your dad that you are rightfully not yet willing to break. This is a heist because they cannot bear that you have more than them. NTA.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.